So ito yung pinakamagandang part sa sinabi niya, no? From March, foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees will be allowed in, but tourists remain barred. So hindi pa rin po allowed yung tourist, pero pwede na po makapasok from starting March yung mga foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees. Yesterday ay nagkaroon ng press conference yung Prime Minister Fumio Kishida about border restriction dito sa Japan. Hi guys, this is Alan. Welcome back to this channel, Gaijin World. And yan, ganyan ang boses ko ngayon dahil nagre-record tayo ngayon kahit na positive tayo sa COVID. Dahil syempre gusto ko pa rin i-share sa inyo yung mga nangyayari dito sa Japan. So kung gusto niyo mapanood yung full interview or yung full press conference para mapanood niyo. So ito yung video. Although hindi ko pa mahanap kung saan part dito dahil napakahaba, 1 oras siya. Pero may nabanggit siya dito eh. Tingnan natin.
Prefectures, and there will be the expiry for Wakayama on the 27th up until the 6th of March. There will be the extension of the priority measures. So wherever it takes precaution, we will do so. We will maintain precautious posture. At the same time, to the exit of the 6th wave, we have to take a step forward, and we'd like to do 3 things. Number 1, about the bed occupancy will be taken into account comprehensively, and once there is a calming down of the situation in some areas, the priority measures will be lifted.
Okay, so para dun sa full coverage ng press conference, lalagay ko na lang yung link sa description box. So puntahan na natin yung pinaka topic for this video. Ito din yung parang summary na nung kanyang interview. So Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Thursday announced his government will allow a limited number of foreign students and business travelers to enter the country from March, following pressure from business groups and academic circles. The move, which will mark the first major reopening of Japan's border in more than a year, comes as other parts of the world have relaxed COVID-19 restrictions, amid growing indication the Omicron variant is less likely to cause severe illness than earlier strains, but high infection rates in Japan mean further easing remains a political challenge for Kishida. So sobrang infectious talaga yung COVID at totoong nakakahawa dahil kami mismo, ayan, nag-positive kami kahapon, ay nag-PCR test kami, and after 30 minutes, ayun, nalaman na agad na positive kami. So ayan, lockdown kami ngayon dito sa kami, home quarantine. Anyway, the pace of the spread of Omicron across the country is beginning to slow down, Kishida said in a news conference. 36 prefectures are beginning to see a decline in the number of infected people. The government briefly opened its border in November but quickly reversed the policy due to the rise of the Omicron variant. From March, foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees will be allowed in. Tourists remain barred. So ito yung pinakamagandang part sa sinabi niya, no? From March, foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees will be allowed in, but tourists remain barred. So hindi pa rin po allowed yung tourist, pero pwede na po makapasok from starting March yung mga foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees. So ito yung pinakamagandang part sa sinabi niya, no? From March, foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees will be allowed in, but tourists remain barred. So hindi pa rin po allowed yung tourist, pero pwede na po makapasok from starting March yung mga foreign students, business travelers, and technical trainees. There will be a daily limit on incoming travelers, although it will be raised to 5,000 from 3,500. So daily people na makakapasok sa Japan ay nag-increase to 5,000. That includes Japanese workers posted abroad who are set to return to country at end of the fiscal year finishing in March. When the border briefly opened in November, Japan required companies that accepted business travelers to submit an action plan to the relevant ministry for prior review. From March, the prior screening will no longer be necessary, but submission itself will still be required. So yung mga screening certificate daw, so ito yata yung tinatawag nilang, ayan, yung prior screening will no longer be necessary. So siguro ito yung sinasabi nilang screening certificate na dating nire-require, but submission itself will still be required. Kishida said it took into account the situation in other countries when reviewing the border policy. However, it is not realistic to loosen the rules all at once, he added. He did not provide a timeline for when tourists would be allowed in. So for tourist visa ay hindi pa rin po alam hanggang kailan may travel ban. U.S. Ambassador to Japan Ram Emanuel said the decision will benefit students and business travelers who are vital for ensuring that the economic ties between Japan and the United States, as well other like-minded economic partners, are as strong as they can be, he said in a statement. Medyo masakit yung aking lalamunan dahil sa COVID. The American Chamber of Commerce in Japan applauded the move, saying that it would be a significant step to address the urgent needs of businesses, separated families, and foreign students, as well as to stimulate Japan's economy. To make this decision meaningful, however, it is critical that the government greatly streamlines application and visa processing and procedures at ports of entry, it added. Quarantine periods will also be shortened. Travelers will still be nominally required to self-isolate for 7 days, but people who test negative for COVID-19 on the third day and meet certain other requirements will be able to end their quarantine. Those who have received 3 vaccine doses and arrive from a country where the coronavirus is not spreading rapidly will be able to skip the quarantine altogether. Japan has maintained strict border controls to prevent new variants from spreading in the country. As of January 4, roughly 400,000 foreign nationals have been unable to enter despite receiving prior approval, official data shows. The prolonged measures have drawn pleas from businesses, some of which have grown increasingly dependent on foreign labor amid a shrinking domestic population. Matthew Wilson, Dean of Temple University, Japan, asked the government to further increase the daily cap to 10,000, with a backlog of nearly 150,000 students potentially waiting to enter Japan. It will take months to bring these future contributors into the country if only 5,000 travelers are allowed to enter Japan each day, he said in a statement. The policy has also dented overseas companies' investments plans in Japan. While the total economic damage is hard to pin down, a survey by the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Japan found that German companies already lost business totaling more than 100 million euros or $113 million in relation to the entry ban. While Japan has been continuing its strong border controls, talent has been moving to other countries, said Toshihiro Nagahama, chief economist at Daiichi Life Research Institute. Despite criticism from the business community and academia, Kishida's border policy has been well supported by the general public. According to an opinion poll by public broadcaster NHK in February, 57% of respondents said the government should continue its border policy at that time, compared to 32% who said it should be loosened. Political observers say it will be difficult for Kishida to make bigger moves to reopen the border, such as allowing the entry of tourists before an upper house election in July. If new entrants are limited to 5,000 people per day, the impact on the economy will not be significant, said Junichi Makino, SMBC Nikko Security Chief Economist. So ayan guys, I hope may nakuha kayong latest information dito sa mga hindi pa nakaalam sa bagong latest information na to related sa travel ban dito sa Japan. Ayan, puntahan ninyo yung link na ilalagay ko sa description box para mapanood nyo mismo yung full interview or yung full press conference ng Prime Minister dito sa Japan, Fumio Kishida. And kung nagustuhan nyo itong video na to, please like this video. Pasensya na at hindi ako makapagsalita ng maayos dahil ang sakit-sakit ng lalamunan ko ngayon. This is pa lang siguro namin, day 1 ng aming lockdown. Mag-ingat din kayo guys, ayan, dahil hindi talaga biro yung COVID. Kung hindi ka pa napag-subscribe, mag-subscribe ka na and hit mo yung notification bell para lagi kang updated sa mga susunod ko pang i-update or i-upload ng mga videos. And don't forget na i-check nyo yung aming playlist. At marami kami mga playlist dyan na makakatulong sa inyong pamumuhay. Ngayon lalo na makakapasok na ang karamihan or yun, yung mga nabanggit natin kanina. Foreign students, business travelers, and yun, mga technical trainees. Ayan, magandang balita po yan guys, 'di ba? So ayan, thank you so much for watching at i-check nyo yung mga videos na lalabas